live, so just
So
don't say
here,
anything crazy.
what?
I'm live, so just don't say anything crazy. Yeah, so I understand that this is not where she wants illuminated star. This is the car that we have now, right? Or no, is this the one that
Texas.
I just found in Texas? Yeah.
But
Well, this car is less expensive than the one that she just bought. So I'm sure we can make it work.
okay.
But the question is, can I get it? Right, that's the unknown. So it's the only one.
Yeah, and she's losing driver assist.
She doesn't care about that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just happened to be walking over there and I could see that she looked upset. So I said hello and she said she doesn't care about driver assist.
Okay.
Which she would have to not care because you can't have both.
And then, so really it's just the installation. That'd be on top of that.
Right.
Okay.
So it does residualize, so you're not paying for the full amount of it. But the first thing is we need to figure out, can we even get the car? And then it's going to be more to ship in than this one was, so we'll have to redo the numbers. I mean, it should fit within the loan approval.
Okay.
But if we can't get it, what's plan B? Right, something would have to change.
I mean, we have one that doesn't have driver assist, but it's white on black.
Okay.
It's here. So that
Yeah,
would
so
be
when
an
you're
option.
when you're running a locate for a car that you want to be able to put illuminated star on, instead of searching for illuminated star specifically, you want to just search for anything without driver assist.
Yeah, I pulled out the driver assist.
Yeah, so
That's where I found the one we have.
yeah,
Okay.
because obviously it's great if it's already on there, but a lot of cars are not going to come from the factory with it already installed.
There's one.
Yeah.
Literally one.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Eric, what's going on, brother? How are you? Good to see you. How's everyone? I would say the market has been very solid. You know, we're still in a period of time where people are taking advantage of the manufacturers eating the cost of tariffs on 2025 models. So as a result of that, sales have been very good. You know, once pricing starts to come out for 2026s, we're going to find out really what the true impact of these tariffs is going to be. So Ryan, I'm doing well, brother. How are you? How long have you been in sales? I've been in sales coming up on 15 years that I've been in the business. In June, it will be 15 years since I got in car sales, if you can believe it. Is it a roller coaster of emotions with Trump's flip-flopping? No, I think at this point we're just used to it. We're just, controlling what we can control. We're going to wait and see what happens, and we can't control it, so there's no sense in getting all bent out of shape about it. Alvin, thank you for the chili. I appreciate that. Eric, glad to hear it. Jeff S., you caught alive. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you. GLA price and payment difference between purchasing versus leasing. The GLA is a definite, well-incentivized lease car. So here, I'll pull up my online express store, and just remember, everybody, all of our pricing is available on our website. You can get right into our website and go to Explore Payments, and you will be right in our online express store where all of our cars are priced. Our best price is already on there, and that is a discounted price, incentivized price, right? So you can go in there and you can work a deal straight up. So if I'm just going to take a GLA here, and I'm going to do a true sign and drive. All right, let's look at a true sign and drive here, and I will illustrate to you why I like leasing so much. Okay, so if you were to do a 3-year lease with 0 do-it signing, and I'll even do 12,000 miles a year. 12,000 miles a year, 0 do-it signing, so that wouldn't, you'd be rolling in your first payment. You would be at $645 on a 36-month GLA lease. Okay, that's a sign and drive. This is the GLA I'm looking at. That same GLA, 0 down, 72 months, at 6.99% financing, which is just, that's the generic interest rate that we use, you'd be at $752. So over $100 more a month you would have to pay for a 6-year loan versus a 3-year lease. Okay, so that right there can illustrate to you why leasing is so popular, especially for luxury cars, because not only are you getting, you're committing for half of the time, you're also saving money on the payment, right? And you're not at the mercy of whatever happens to the resale market of that particular car. Jeff, do you think you could do a video on your Porsche dealership? That would be the cat's meow. Yeah, I definitely can do that. Absolutely. I can definitely do a video on the Porsche store for sure. How do you feel about used GLCs? GLCs I love. They're our #1 selling car here in America now. And they, yeah, new pre-owned, they're great vehicles, 100%. Bring Jared back. Jared left. He doesn't want to be here anymore. He wants to do social media. Emily, thank you for the, what'd you give? Thanks for the gifts, Emily. Appreciate that. Debating between the GLB and the GLC. Well, Jess, 2 great choices. They're very similar in size. The GLC is going to be more luxurious. The GLB is going to be a bit more affordable. Michael, great job. I'm not sure what for, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Are you guys as slow as we are in Florida? No, today has been a little bit slow, but the month has been very busy. The month has been very, very busy. Yeah. Angela, how are you? Good to see you. Probably already asked who are the autographs back there. Brian Brennan is on the brown football, and Archie Griffin and Jim Tressel are on the white ball there. GP, I want to get you and me both. I want a Unimog in the worst way. I wish that those were sold regularly here in the States, but you got to import them. What will the monthly payment be on a Coupe CLE 300? That's a fun one. So let's go to a CLE 300 Coupe. Let's take a look at, I've only got one left in stock currently. So let's take a look at how that one shakes out on a lease. Now these are going to be a bit more expensive. We're going to do same thing here. We're going to look at a sign and drive lease. So that's 000 at signing, not even your first payment and fees, which would be the norm on a lease. And if we looked at so I'm going to show you 60 months because there is special financing through Mercedes-Benz, 499% financing through Mercedes-Benz on the CLEs. So a 3-year lease, 12,000 miles a year, sign and drive, you'd be at about $996 a month. Now, granted, this is with local Ohio taxes. This is 8% sales tax here locally in Ohio, $996, and on that 60-month finance, you would be at $1,174. And if you went out to 72 months, which you would not have the special financing anymore, you'd be at $1,024. So again, you can see in almost every situation, you're going to have a lower or a similar payment for a 3-year lease as you would a 6-year finance. And that is why I really do not recommend financing unless you keep cars 6 years or longer. The Thomas J, what's going on, brother? How are you? Good to see you. Bob Road, what are your thoughts on whether this will be a good 3-day weekend for the higher-end auto sales industry? Bob, I don't really put too much stock in holiday weekends. You know, we are closed on Memorial Day, thankfully, which is a great long weekend that we get here. Well, a 2-day weekend, so a normal weekend. And Isaac, yeah, we're hiring. But, you know, I would say that holiday weekends tend to be bigger for domestic and maybe import brands, but the luxury brands I don't think really get any kind of boost for a holiday weekend. In fact, I mean, the running joke is that a lot of our clientele are either on vacation or opening up their lake houses for the summer, you know, doing something else instead of shopping for a car this weekend. But a lot of them tend to be traveling on a holiday weekend. Keschel, I've not visited the museum in Stuttgart. No, I've not, unfortunately, although that would be fun. Where's the furthest you've shipped? I'm guessing, shipped a car. We ship to California all the time, so I guess that technically would be the furthest. Oregon, we've shipped to Oregon. But yeah, we do a lot of business in California, a lot of business on the West Coast, ton of business in Florida. So we've even shipped a car to Hawaii, but never Alaska. So I guess Hawaii would be the furthest. That was a very complicated process. Not interested in necessarily doing that again. Isaac, we are in North Olmsted, Ohio, which is Cleveland. Your dad has a 2024 E63S wagon. He wants to know how many wagons were made versus coupes. There is no 2024 E63 wagon. Is it maybe a little bit older than that by chance? Have you been to Germany, home members? I have not been to Germany, no. What do we look for in an applicant who would be applying? We really look for personality, attitude, work ethic, right? We can't teach you to have a personality. We can't teach you to have a good work ethic. We can't teach you to be a busy person, right? We look for busy people who stay busy, people who need to be told what to do, people who sit around kind of waiting to be told what to do, generally do not do well in car sales. So in this business, it's a choose your own adventure every day. So people that are inherently just active and busy and talkative and like to have conversation, aren't afraid of the phone, they tend to do very well. What's up?
She was like, she's gonna apologize to you.
Why?
I guess she told you to get over her face or something like that. She's like, I feel really bad. I'd like to apologize to you.
Oh, she didn't tell me that, but I can go talk to her.
She thinks she did.
Oh, okay.
She's good. She's keeping my car.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of went over driver's assist with her because I told her, like, people think they don't need it, but.
Well, that's what I told her. I said, I know you say that now, but I think after you live with it.
Oh, mine has it, and I wouldn't buy a car without it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I use the example of heated seats and heated steering wheel. A lot of people think they're like, oh, I've never had that, I don't need it. And it's like, well, once you have it, you won't not be able to not have it.
Same thing, like mine are heated and ventilated, and I probably never use them. I use them all the time, so I would never go back.
What's up? Okay. All right, I'll be right back. I gotta go say hi to a client real quick. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we had a client that was in for delivery, picking up her new car. Her old car had an illuminated star. The new one does not because it has the driver assistance package, and she was. I don't think it was something that she had thought about until day of delivery, and so, she thought maybe she really wanted the illuminated star, but after talking it over, she's going to keep the one that she was here to pick up, and I'm confident that she's going to love it because driver assistance package is really, really nice to have. Quick look busy, he's back. That's right, Tommy. Pick up your phone, pretend like you're calling somebody. Anyway, let's see. How is it going? Is Mercedes going to make the new EQC? Yeah, so the EQC is going to come to the States. It's going to look, so beginning next year, all of Mercedes-Benz's EVs are going to look like their ICE counterparts, right? So all of the EVs in the EQC is going to be, we don't have one now, of course, so the very first iteration that we get is going to look like a GLC, but it will be all electric. And I think that's a smart move. Mercedes listened to the feedback from their customers and their clients that they wanted, they didn't want the styling that screams EV. And so I think that's a smart move on their part, and that will begin next year. So, how's it going? Yeah, panel roofs are a funny thing because a lot of people are convinced that they want them and have to have them, but then most of those people don't ever end up using a sunroof. So I think a lot of them just like to know that it's there, or maybe they like to leave the shade open and it makes the interior feel more open. But yeah, sunroof usage is pretty low overall. And Bill, the American Express discount is no longer active, unfortunately. I do apologize for that confusion. I know a lot of my videos that come out now, which were filmed last year, will mention that, but that program did end. So there are a lot of other ways to get that incentive, and it's AAA, AAA, Sam's Club, USAA, Navy Federal, military, Morgan Stanley Reserve, a lot of other ones. Paul, thoughts on the S63s 15 to 19? Great cars. We miss them, especially if you're talking about a Cooper Cabriolet. That's really your only chance to get one. But even for the sedans, great generation of car. A lot of car for the money nowadays as well. Joe, yeah, E53 wagon will be out this fall. So we do have allocations of those already. That is happening, and they will be out in the fall. Very excited for that car. Hannah grew up in North Olmsted. I love it. That's awesome. A local. Omar, no E63 wagon officially yet, but we do anticipate that we'll have that sometime next year. So anxiously awaiting the official word on that car. And thanks to everyone who's hanging out, by the way, today. If you're not following already, please hit the follow button. Please hit the subscribe button. And please hit the like button and the thumbs up button. That really means a lot, and it helps to push these live streams out to more people. So thank you to everybody that's hitting the like button, that's a new follower today, and that's even been a follower for a long time. Really do appreciate that. And no S-Coupes anymore. Those have been out of production for several years now, and I don't think there's any plans to bring that back. Unfortunately, Americans just don't buy enough coupes and cabriolets, especially not at that price point, to justify it. Matt, my best recommendation is the EQS. If you need a long-range EQS, I actually posted a little video on my, other account, not my Benzs and Bowties, but I'm driving an EQS 580 SUV now, and when I got in it the other day, on my way home from work, on a full charge, and it was only 59 degrees outside, so not even all that warm, but my max range was like 436 miles. So I can imagine that would go even higher in true summer heat. But yeah, the EQS gets some serious range. So in Maryland, all the dealers will do AAA Navy Fed. Well, presumably, Bill. I mean, if a lot of people that live in Maryland are Navy Federal members or have AAA, then yeah, you would qualify for that. Now, again, I know some other dealerships out there don't like me for this, but not all of them will ask about these incentives, if whether or not you qualify for reasons that I'm not going to get into, but yeah, you might have to ask the dealership about these incentives because they might not ask you, and I hate to say that, but there's clearly not consistency out there. How are you handling the tariffs with customers? Well, Mark, fortunately, we don't have to handle that directly. That's not something that comes down to the dealership level, right? We're just operating as we normally would, which is what's the supply of the particular vehicles that we have in stock relative to their demand, and that's where the market pricing is dictated. Some cars demand deep discounting, others demand very little discounting, and that just comes down to the supply-demand curve. And obviously, consumers' preferences and demand will probably change if and when tariffs start hitting the 2026 model year prices, which I anticipate that they will. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. Terry, I'm glad you like the Brown Estate wagon. I'm a big station wagon fan. I've really come to appreciate them over the years, and I'm extremely excited for the E53 wagon because the only knock that people generally have on the wagons now, the E450 wagons, is that they don't like the black fender flares, which is meant to evoke more of a rugged off-roady look, and the E53 AMG will be body color all throughout, and especially over the fenders. So I think that eliminates the one visual thing that that could take an issue with on the 450. So I'm very excited for the E53s. Mark, I appreciate you. I thank you for saying thank you. It means a lot, and I'm happy to do it. This has been a great joy for me to connect with all of you and educate and show you how we do things and what goes on in a car dealership, and hopefully help to make people better car buyers and hopefully make car salespeople better car salespeople. Regarding the dealership's used fleet, do they mostly come from auction? No, or trade-in? We almost do no auction buying. I won't say we do none, but we do very little. So it's all trades or purchases out of the service department or off-street purchases. Mark with a Galaxy. Thank you, Mark. That's incredibly kind of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Terry, I'm going to contact someone on that wagon. No, they don't only come in AMG. The one that you saw today, the brown one that I posted, was a E450. That's an E450 wagon, so that's a non-AMG. Omar, I've worked at dealerships in the past and can say to those who are skeptical that he's very transparent. Wish I worked with guys like that. Omar, I appreciate you saying that. I really do. Drew, when are the EVs going to change from CCS to NACS plugs? That'll be next year, Drew. That'll be 2026. How many deals do your finance managers sign a month, and how many of them? So we have 3 finance managers split between our 2 buildings. We've got the new car building and the pre-owned building, and we do 150 to 200 deals a month. So anywhere from 50 to 70 a person generally. You say you do about 50-ish deals a month finance-wise?
Yeah, sure.
50, 60, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
So do you already miss yelling at Jared? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Right? He was certainly entertaining, but he was also sometimes a little exhausting. Do your EVs come with chargers? They all come with emergency cables, which are, level 1 and level 2 compatible, right? So you could plug them into a household outlet as an emergency charger, or you can, if you have a 220 line, you could plug it into a 220 line. So they all come with that, but they don't come with like a wall box charger. That is something that you would need to get separately. Joe Otto hit the gym.
One of these days.
Joe Otto doesn't need to hit the gym.
Joe has a 6'8" wingspan that is not friendly for the gym.
Mm-hmm. Guys, Joe is very tall. Okay? If you didn't know that. Stephanie, my local dealer, told me there was absolutely no GLB that qualifies for the advertised 489-month lease, and all the leases would be more like 800. That's not true, Stephanie. That's not true at all. In fact, all you have to do is go to MBUSA, and you have to just look at the fine print there, and you'll see the MSRP of the car that they are using. Now, what they may have, they just gave you bad advice, but just so we're all clear, the way that manufacturers advertise their national specials, which I'm not really a fan of, but they all do it, and so they all do it, right? Is you pick a car that has low-end equipment level, right? So not a lot of options. You leave taxes and fees out because they don't know where you live, right? They're advertising nationally, so they can't, if they included Ohio tax, for example, that wouldn't apply to somebody who lives in California. and they do only 10,000 miles a year and with a nice big down payment at signing, right? A lot of people don't necessarily want to put a bunch of money down at signing. Maybe they need more miles per year, and they probably, then taxes and fees have to be added back in. So yeah, the lease payments do end up coming out to be a bit higher than that once you factor all of it in, but you can definitely structure a lease in the way that it's been advertised. Okay, so you just have to match it up as best you can. Also, let's just look it up right now together. Let's see what the Mercedes has recently changed their website, and now every time I go here I get confused. All right, special offers. MBUSA, so what do they've got for the GLB? Let's find it. All right, GLB 250 4MATIC is the 489. So that's with 4843 due at signing. The MSRP of a car that they're using is 48,950. Okay, so 48,950 car, those definitely exist. I have a few in stock, and with, let's call it $5,000 at signing, and then taxes and fees are left out. That's on a 15 or a 10,000 mile per year lease. So I, for example, have a GLB in stock. If I did a 3-year lease with $5K at signing, this includes taxes and fees, and it's at $575 a month. So if I took out taxes and fees, I'd probably actually be below the 489 because I'm discounting it more than they recommend. Mike, are you still working with Omar? Are you talking about from Nomad? Yes. Drake, all of our dealers offer no discount. It's always MSRP. Doesn't give you much wiggle room for equity. Drake, I'm sorry to hear that. Sounds like you need to work with different dealers. Do you guys do a lot of cylinder heads? No, we don't do a lot of cylinder heads in general, no. I mean, it happens occasionally. Right, look, here's the thing. Cars are machines, they break. I know that sometimes if it's your car that breaks, it can make it feel like it happens really often or it happens more than it should, and it's never fun when it does. But again, part of the appeal to leasing a car, right? You're gonna have it probably under warranty the entire time, right? I mean, cars break sometimes, it's not fun, but have a warranty and you're good. Nick, what's the best comparison if I drive an Audi S7 right now and switch to a Benz? So that would have been the CLS before the CLS went out of production. So the closest thing now would probably be like a GT43 or GT53 AMG Coupe. Yes, Vic, absolutely. We lease cars to California all the time. Stephanie, sounds like I'll be making a trip to see you guys. I'm just in Tennessee. I drive 1 mile to work, so I'm not worried about mileage on a lease. Yeah, there you go. Boom. So that would be no problem for you at all. Nick Ram, hey Doug, I got a great deal on a loaner EQS 450 at 4MATIC SUV in March, paying $640 for 24 months. What are your thoughts on me having equity? You are probably not going to have equity, Nick. The EQS residuals, the EQ residuals are very high. I mean, there's always a chance, but I just wouldn't count on it. I mean, the EVs just are still not holding value well on the pre-owned market. What is the closest to an Equinox? Equinoxes are actually kind of big, I think. No, maybe a GLC or GLE. I'm kind of guessing here. I'm not super familiar with the non-Tahoe and Suburban-sized SUVs for Chevy. How has Nomad been for you guys? Can you speak on what it's been like working with them? I sell cars in California, trying to convince my sale. Oh, they've been great. I mean, I would say that it really all depends on your content strategy, Mike. And, obviously they're going to be helpful for anybody, but for me, they are a lifesaver because the way that my content works, unless I'm out and about and or doing something like we're hiring post or something that's a little bit more like I've sat down and thought out what I want to say, my content is salesperson walks into the office, I turn on the camera. If the conversation is interesting, we turn it into a video and put it out. Now, the problem with that is that when I first started making content, I would have, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 interactions in a day with my sales team, and I'm filming that, and those videos could be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes long. So I would then have to go home, sit down, rewatch all of those videos to see what was discussed. Is that an interesting scenario or not, and then I would have to sit down and edit it. Okay, I had no life, right? I've got a wife, 2 kids, I work in the car business. I already had no time, and doing that I had even less than no time. So now to have Omar and his team be able to, I send them the content, they watch it, right? They know how the style of the content needs to be, and then they go through, they find the interesting conversations and edit it for me. So what I have bought back is my time, which I can now use to do things like go on lives and talk with all of you, be more effective at work with my team, be more present at home with my family, right? So yeah, it's, but for somebody like Russ Flips Whips, for example, Russ, all of his stuff is skits. He thinks it up, writes it out, films it in 5 minutes or less. So he doesn't really need an editing team. Seems like too much work. Yeah, Nikita, it's a lot of work for sure. It really is. It's a lot of work. I saw a video about prices of AMG GTs. Are they a bargain, reliable, entry level? Yeah, I'm guessing you saw the Cars and Bids video from Doug DeMuro. And yeah, I mean, that's 100%. It's a lot of car for the money. Just keep in mind that you are buying, in some of those cases, a 10-year-old, AMG sports car. So the price might be affordable, but you need to be mindful of proper maintenance for it and what that's going to cost. Why does it seem like there are never incentives to lease GLC 300 coupes? Seems very difficult to get a lease payment for 10K miles under 1,000. Andrew, you're exactly right. And the reason for that is that GLC coupes are very low production relative to GLC regulars. They have very, very high demand, and they hold their value extremely well. So Mercedes knows they do not need to incentivize that lease whatsoever. Right? So important thing to keep in mind with leasing is that residual values and lease rates are often completely arbitrary, right? They don't necessarily have anything to do with what the value of the car is going to be. They are just modified in such a way to either make a lease payment low or to make a lease payment higher. Rusty, when is Mercedes going to be rolling out the 2.6 MBUX update in the US? I still have not received the push yet. Rusty, that's a great question. I do not know. I'd have to check with service to see if they have an answer. Infinite, what determines if a model is incentivized or not? I mean, I don't want to oversimplify, but it really just comes down to supply and demand. So what all manufacturers do, including Mercedes, is they monitor the market, how many of each model are out there, what is the sale rate, is the car moving as quickly as they want it to or not? And if they have inventory piling up on certain models, then they will incentivize it, because think of it this way. Think of it like a winter coat in June, okay? If you go to a clothing store and there's a winter coat there, even if it's a great winter coat, if there's no demand for it, something's got to be done to get it to sell. So what does the clothing store do? They put it on sale. Right now, at a certain price, people are willing to buy it. Even if it's a winter coat in June, for the right price, somebody will buy it. Okay, that's kind of how incentives work on cars. Now, if you've got a piece of clothing that sells out every time you put it on the shelves, then it will never be incentivized, because that would be a waste of money, right? And that's what we experience with things like the G-Wagons, G63s, GLC coupes. They always have a very high sale rate. They're very popular, they hold their value well, so incentivizing them would be pointless because they don't need to be incentivized, right? So really the market, which is all of you, car buyers, determines what gets incentivized and what doesn't based on your purchasing of it or not. So, are adaptive headlights available in the US? Yes, they are, but they are not nearly as capable. They're very restricted in the US. So, Mercedes, for example, has wildly advanced headlights that can do all kinds of cool stuff in Europe that they cannot do here because of government regulation on what they can and can't do. So they're very limited in what they can do here relative to what they're actually capable of doing. No different than our driver assist programs. So, Mercedes has probably, at this point, the most advanced driver assist technology in the world, but it's very limited here in the States on what it can do because of regulation, right? So what it is capable of doing and what it's allowed to do are two different things. Tesla gets around those rules by they don't operate under the same playbook that legacy auto manufacturers do. Mike's Miracle Whips, I've tried the skits. I just don't feel like they really drive sales. It's just more entertaining. Yeah, I mean, Mike, the skits can be fun and they're a way to, maybe get some eyeballs on you. But ultimately, if your intention is to drive sales, then you need to provide value to people, right? And entertainment is great, but if you provide value, which would be educational, then people are going to be more inclined to want to do business with you. So if you can find a way to provide value and educate and also make it kind of a skit, then that's really what Russ did. And I know not everyone loves Russ, but Russ has done very well. And it's because his skits are educational. Michelle, because Tesla is really more of they're like a tech company more than they are a car company. And they also operate their autopilot in a constant state of beta, which basically you have to agree to very lengthy agreements saying that you understand that the system it's always under development. And you're basically signing a waiver every time you use autopilot, which legacy auto manufacturers don't do, right? You don't get in your Mercedes and sign a waiver to turn on the adaptive cruise control, right? So that's kind of the big difference. So what Mercedes-Benz AMG model do you recommend as a work car that can fit 3 kids, 1 in a booster? Please help. So if you've got 3 kids, then a GLS is really the only thing that you're probably comfortably going to sit in. A GLE might work depending on the size of the kids, but GLE or GLS. Closing on a GLC 2025 is $1,000 a month, a decent rate. All depends on, I'd need to see the total parameters of the deal, the particular car you're getting, how many miles a year, where you live, if there's any trade, anything like that. But that's not an uncommon range for a GLC to be in. At your dealership, if someone were to apply for sales, would they get a demo to drive? Only GSM and above get a demo. So demos are less common than they used to be for insurance reasons. What's up?
I want to, for the Volkers, who was the certified car, we had to bring it back to put brakes on because it was horrific, right? Andrew was at the coffee bar because they were here for something else.
Yeah.
Get the CPA paperwork, so.
Okay.
She's like, Andrew, can you get me a coffee mug? He denied it, of course. Can I get this one a coffee mug for them? Have them bring the car back the day.
Yep, go ahead.
How do you want me to?
Just get it and bring me the sheet.
Gotcha.
Okay. Are you going to stay as a sales manager forever? No, definitely not. I'd like to, get into ownership in some capacity. I don't know what that looks like exactly, but I definitely don't want to be a sales manager the rest of my life. No disrespect to sales managers, but I do want to continue growing 100%. So what that looks like exactly, don't know at this moment. But thank you to everyone who is hanging out with me today. Thank you for everyone that is a follower. If you're not a follower already, I would love if you hit the follow button or the subscribe button over on YouTube, and make sure you're hitting the like button as well, or the thumbs up button, right? That way we get out in front of more people. Appreciate it, as always. Rob, does it ever make sense for a customer who drives 20,000 miles a year to lease? Absolutely, Rob. In fact, I would make the argument that people who drive 20,000 miles a year should only be leasing. Unless you want to drive like a 10-year-old MDX until the wheels fall off of it, then by all means. But high mileage leasing makes more sense than most people realize. It is a great option to protect yourself from the uncertainty of depreciation and to give yourself a guaranteed exit strategy. Nate, no, I am the GSM right now. How do you really feel about cash buyers? I don't feel any kind of way. I mean, I don't think it's smart to pay cash for a car, but I don't have an issue with them. Marcus Benz are being, well, Marcus, that Benz is my favorite, but that's no disrespect to BMW. BMW is an amazing brand, and I have a deep respect for them as well. Just comes down to personal preference. I'm a road warrior sales rep. Any suggestions on a stylish, mindful car? Steve, I hate to give recommendations only because everyone's different, right? Some people are very, very practical. Others want to have a nice car and enjoy it. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's whatever makes you happy. I know that everyone has a different way of looking at it, so it just has to make sense to you, right? There you go, Jared Williams in the chat. Remember, I drive 50,000 miles a year and I lease. Best thing ever. There you go. Yeah, Jared, he took advantage of of the cheat code, which is leasing a former loaner, which we can then certify, which means that you get the unlimited mileage warranty and you can do a super high mileage lease and be covered the entire time. And that is what it just gives you an ultimate level of protection, right? Because you're not going to be stuck in some 6 or 7 year finance where you're depreciating the car so much faster than you're paying it down. And at the end of 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, you get to get out, get a new car, or walk away from that situation entirely. Matt, when will the CLA EV be available to put in orders and requests? I would hope soon. I will double check. I don't believe that we've got the ordering guide for that yet, but I will double check just to be sure. Do you do online deals, or do I need to fly into your dealership? No, you absolutely do not need to fly in here. In fact, we encourage you not to. So that is our big thing, is that we want to make sure that you do not need to come here if you don't want to. Right? We're all about buying a car like Amazon. You know what? Hey, look at that. We have the ordering guide. We do have the ordering guide for the all-new CLA. So let's see if it can be configured. So it doesn't look like I can configure one in my inventory system yet, but we do have the information on it. So I would imagine that that's going to be pretty soon that we can do that. But yeah, all of the information is here. So liquid crystal green, that's a fun new color that we're going to have for the new CLA. These are going to be hot, and this is going to be a very advanced car. What's the cost to ship a car a state or two away? It really depends on the state, but we can get most cars to Michigan for about $300. Pennsylvania, depending on how far into Pennsylvania, $300 to $500, and so it's usually $500 or less. I can get a car from here to Massachusetts or Connecticut for about $500. So. Well, lad, what do you think of your men disappearing off like that? Oh, Jared, well, I think he's pursuing his dream, right? So good for him. If I drive 50,000 miles a year, should I lease? Why not? I mean, JQ, you have two options. You can either lease a car and have a higher but fixed payment that you understand every month, or you can drive a old beater. That's really the only two options that you have. Right? You can't buy nice cars, and you can't finance nice cars. That's just a recipe for disaster for you. You can lease nice cars, but you can't buy them if you're driving that much. Tyler, the A-Class went away from the U.S. It just wasn't selling well enough here, unfortunately. Would you buy a 2022 Benz A-Class with 22,000 miles? I mean, yeah, why not? Price is $29,000. I'd have to look at the car to know if it was a good deal or not, but sounds a little expensive. But if it has a really nice build on it, it might be reasonable. EQE SUV selling 2024s new at huge discounts versus 2025s. Well, first of all, make sure you don't buy it lease only on any EQ. And there's no advantage to getting a 25 unless you can't find a 24 that has what you want. But yeah, always get the 2024 if the deal is better. Thoughts on the rumors that AMG Jared is interviewing at BMW? I have not heard that rumor, and I don't believe it to be true. I heard you're hiring. Are your packs over 2K? I only work at stores with high packs. We don't. We don't pay you commission on the gross in the deal, so it wouldn't matter what our packs are. And right now, I'm driving an EQS 580 SUV. EQS 580 SUV is what I'm driving currently. Who can I contact? So if you go to my link tree, just go to the link in my bio and just hit there's a link on there. I work with Doug Horner and the team, and put your information there, and we will get in touch. So Dylan, I actually just did a video on that about how we pay our sales team in response to our We're Hiring video. So it'd probably just be easier to have you watch that, and kind of goes over it. But we pay a flat per car amount that goes up as you sell more cars, right? So we don't want to encourage bad behavior by incentivizing salespeople to sell one car versus another car. We want people to buy the right car for them, and that means salespeople need to be incentivized just to find the right car for you and not the right car for the salesperson. Yeah, so Nicholas, the liquid crystal green does kind of have a mint green look to it. I would definitely describe it as mint green, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it. Jared wants the EQS 580 when I'm done. There you go. I got Jared in the chat here, Jared Williams, our friend down in Tejas.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Nice.
Ba, 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 ba.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What payment is a good Sealy 53 lease payment? Well, I would say $1,200 to $1,500. All right, what else? EQS for life. Yes, Jared. So are you loving it? I mean, I've been driving one for over 3 years now. I love it. What are your thoughts on the Lexus LC? They're cool. I'm not a huge Lexus fan, but Linktree is not working for me any way around it. Interesting. Should be working. I mean, you can just go to mbzno.com, mbzno.com. That's our website, and you can just send in a lead on any car there, and we'll be in touch with you that way. But good, it's amazing. I'm glad you like it. Glad you agree. GLE 580 or GLE 63S, two totally different animals, D. Mendez. It really depends. GLE 580 is much more luxurious, and GLE 63 is obviously going to be a lot sportier and, AMG-ified. So it really just depends on what is the better fit for you. What is the best fit for you? Why not a fan of Lexus? I just think that, for me, I would just get a Toyota. Lexus is a dressed up Toyota, and so I don't see really the value in spending up for that. That's all. I have nothing against them. They're great cars. But I just think that if I was going to go that route, I would just get the Toyota. The new E53 AMG is the perfect daily. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I love the new E53. I love the styling of it. It's got a great engine, but it also gets about 50, 60 miles of all-electric range. And you know me, I'm all about that. Yeah, Jared, that's right. You're not afraid of a payment at all. If I can't get your 580, then I wouldn't be opposed to a Maybach version. Yeah, that would be cool. EQS Maybach would be sweet. Yeah, once you get to the end of this lease, the world will be your oyster. And you're saving all that money on gas too. That's the big thing, right? The electricity cost is way lower than a gas bill for a high mileage driver. Ryan, I live in a city with only one Mercedes and BMW dealership, and I compare prices of South Florida to where I'm at, and it is like 10K over what happened to the no haggle. I'm not sure I fully understand that. You're saying you live in a city with what you compare prices of South Florida to where you're at, and what's higher? Is it the South Florida is 10K higher, or? And no haggle is a dealership initiative. That's not specific to the brand. Every dealership operates in a different way. Why are there not very many Sealy 450s out there? They just, it's a low production model. Low production model. John just picked up my new GLB lease. Love it. First MB. Great videos, by the way. Congratulations to you, John. I'm glad you like the videos, and congratulations on your new GLB. What kind of credit would I need for a moderate down payment on a 2024 GT63S? So, living, it's going to be a lot more about your credit history than it is about your credit score. So you're going to need other, comparable auto history is the biggest thing. They want to know that you've had car loans before, especially expensive car loans, and that you've paid them well and on time. Everyone, if you could, please be so kind as to make sure you're hitting the like button. The like button is very helpful to get more people in here and push out in front of new viewers. And so I really appreciate people that are hitting the like button. And if you're not following already, would love and appreciate a follow. And make sure that you're subscribed over on YouTube as well if you're not already, because YouTube is where I get to post longer videos than what you see generally on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that. So, but Sean, never make it to a live. Hi, Doug. I have a 24 GLC 300. When my lease is up, I'm buying from you. Hope you ship to New Jersey. Yes, Sean, absolutely. We ship all over the country. We'd love to work with you on the next one. Jared Williams, 125 per month electricity. And saving $1,000 a month in fuel. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. That's awesome, though. I love it. Mason, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Kate Sterling with 50K miles a year. I don't blame you. Probably spend more time in your car than your home. Yeah, 50,000 miles a year. Jared is on the road all the time. When you ask if someone owns a business, what documentation do you require as proof? So we just have to look it up on the Secretary of State for your state just to confirm that you are the registered owner of that business. And if you don't link to it on the Secretary of State, maybe you had a lawyer or a third party file for you, then we would just need articles of incorporation that show that you are a registered agent of the business. So it's not super complicated. It's got to be more than 1 year old, and we just have to be able to link you to that business. That's a Mercedes-Benz's requirement. Did anyone tell you look like the Dad's Social guy, Big Fall? I'm not sure. No, I have not heard that one yet. Don't know who the Dad's Social guy is. I got some negative equity on my vehicle. Do you work on that? Yes, we do. Absolutely. We definitely work with negative equity. My boy's rocking the Charles. Yeah, I do. I got the Charles Tourette. I don't even know how you say it, but yes, I do have that. I do have that shirt on. I don't own an MB, but I really enjoy watching your videos. Robert, that's good enough for me. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. It means a lot. Did I misread that Mercedes is going to cover the tariff? No, so as of now, Savage, they are eating tariffs on all 2025 models. So they have not passed any of that along yet. And I anticipate that they'll continue to do that all the way through the end of the 2025s. And then when the 26s come out, that seems to be when all the manufacturers are going to have to start passing that increased cost along. Yeah, so the GLE is due for a facelift next year, so about in a little over a year from now. Do you get a company car? Yeah, I get a demo. So I drive a demo, which is currently an EQS 580. Patrick, should I leave my $145,000 per year tech sales job to do car sales? I can't answer that question for you, right? That comes down to what you want to accomplish. Car sales is definitely not for everyone. It's harder than it looks, I will say that. but it matters where you are. You got to have a good dealership, a supportive dealership. You have to have people that are willing to coach and train and help. And, you know, you got to have a product that you love and you believe in, that's for sure. So, Britt, yes, I briefly worked for Ford when I started in the business. I worked for Ford for 3 years. And in between working for Mercedes in Columbus and then moving back here to Cleveland, I worked for Porsche for about 9 months. So, Fend, I have a theory with everyone who has negative equity pushing them into an EV lease is genius. Great way to push the narrative of electric is the future and wipe out. Well, Fend, we're not trying to push the narrative of electric being the future. We're just trying to take advantage of the incentives that we have to undo people's negative equity scenario, right? I mean, let's be clear. EVs are wildly incentivized because a lot of Americans have assumed that they just would never drive one or wouldn't like driving one. So let's take advantage of that, right? It allows us to do things we otherwise would not be able to do as far as getting people out of these scenarios. And by the way, what we find is that a lot of people who end up driving them, myself included, are very impressed and end up liking them a whole lot more than we ever thought we would, right? So I'm not sitting here by any means saying that electric vehicles are the future. I think they're a part of the future. I don't think they are the future, but they are way better than I ever thought they would be. So I would encourage people that can make it work from a driving standpoint. If you have a negative equity situation you really want to undo, there is truly no better way. Truly, truly, truly. Which brand do you find traded in the most? Probably Range Rover, BMW the most. I mean, a lot of that just comes down to cross shopping that you have between
All good, no worries.
these brands. Eric, any chance for European delivery coming back? Not that I'm not going to bank on that. It would be great if it did, but I'm just not confident that they're ever going to bring that back, unfortunately. Best intro model for Mercedes-Benz. I have always said that the C-Class is the best way to start with Mercedes-Benz. When this new CLA comes out, I'll probably be able to make an argument that that will be the best vehicle to start with. Yeah, we always use AccuTrade, Joe. That's how we appraise it. That doesn't mean that we don't sometimes step up on AccuTrade numbers if we see extra value in the car, but we use AccuTrade exclusively. They are they have revolutionized our ability to process a volume of trades, and it just makes everything much easier for us. Ron, love from Detroit. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ron. Alex, I'm just fascinated by how quickly people get sick of the car they are driving. Of course, you'll have negative equity if you buy it and only drive it for 2 years. Yeah, it is. It is pretty fascinating. Sam, what up? How you doing? But yeah, everybody's different. Some people can keep a car and drive it until the wheels fall off. Other people, 6 months later, they're over it. What's the most expensive vehicle the dealership has ever sold? That's a good question. We've sold a couple of, $500-ish thousand cars. I've tried telling my sales manager about that, but they won't listen. I'm not sure about what specifically. Doug, when are you expecting the electric CLA in your dealership? I would hope by the end of the year is when we should have it. What's up?
Can you post that for shipping?
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
We are right up against the holiday weekend at this point, so I would just make sure you have a conversation with him about
Sure.
there's a chance that,
Didn't get picked up till Tuesday.
well, there's a better chance that it gets picked up and parked.
Sits.
That's what a lot of these trucks do around these weekends. It's not cool of them. They'll make it sound like they're going to deliver it over the weekend, and then they don't. So I got to post a car for pickup here. Hey, Don, is this going open or enclosed?
I think it was open. Someone needed GLS. There's a GLS coming back.
It's going down to Florida.
Yep.
So here's a car that we are selling or delivering down to Florida. Was this a social media lead, or just found us randomly?
I think he found this randomly for this car, the build.
Oh, that's
Yes.
right. Yeah. I remember this one. So here's a client down in Florida that found us. And why does this not look? Got it, never mind. Yep. Yeah. You got 11? Nicely done, brother. Is it an active loaner? Interesting. Okay, hold up. I'll look at it in just a moment here. All right, you said it's a what? It's a GLA 35? What are the last 7 of the VIN? No, that can't be right. It wouldn't be an S. That's the stock number you just gave me. What's the okay. Yeah, this is an active loaner. Yep. All right. Yep, no problem. Bye. All right. Patrick, and someone reach out to me. Yeah, so Patrick, the best, if you could, go to the link in my, my link tree and go to the Work with Doug Horner and team, put your information in there, and we'll be in touch. That is the best way to do it. So are you guys doing any lease deals? Yes, Sam. We are a high volume dealer. We've got deals on every car, right? Go right to our website, mbzuno.com. You can shop right on our website. Pick the car you want, go to Explore Payments. You'll go right into our online express store. Everything is priced right there. If you want to make sure that you get the exact price, right, based on where you live, to get taxes and fees accurate, then you will need to put your information in there. But we make it really easy. It's as close to, Amazon as you're going to get for buying a car. We'll make it as easy as possible. You don't have to come here. You don't have to get on a plane and come see us, right? We'll deliver it right to your door. Everything that we do is about making it as easy as possible. What's the biggest Mercedes SUV available besides the GLS? That would be a GLE. The GLE would be the next largest SUV. Do you lower prices of new cars after they've been on the lot a very long time? Sometimes, yeah. If we have a car that's been here for an especially long time, then that car will very likely have a price reduction, but we try not to let them age if we can. And, we're have to be on top of it always, monitoring the age of the vehicles, the demand for them, etc. So, no, Ricky, I'm not planning on that. So Doug, EQS shopper here, does Mercedes-Benz allow stacking incentives? No, so you can't stack incentives. You just get whichever one's best, unless you are a current client that qualifies for loyalty. That is a rebate. That could be combined with the incentives. So anyway, all right, well, I'm going to hop off and got some things to do to wrap up the day, but I appreciate everyone hanging out. And if you're not following already, again, please, would love and appreciate a follow. And thank you to everyone that came in to hang for a bit. We'll try to hop on again tomorrow.